Good morning, good evening, or good riddance. Welcome to the Spire RIFFCAST, where we'll be discussing all things metal, non-metal, and every point in between. With this podcast, we hope to lift the veil on our world and metal music and dig into some topics we've wanted to share with all of you. This will be informal, so please take our content with a grain of salt and a sense of humor. Right now, you are listening to the RIFFCAST Episode 2. I am fiddlioso and hardly soft-spoken Pat Young, and I'm here with my hetero partner, string buddy, and better half, Mr. Zachary Town. Today I'm hoping to cover life before you join Spire, what roles you've played since joining up, and the exciting things we have in the works this year. Let's riff.
Hey, everybody.
There he is. I let him in.
Came in through the garage like I usually do.
Mm-hmm. Keep him from getting the fucking mud and gook and all that stuff from Utica.
My dirty boots.
Utica gook's awful.
Yeah.
They put bath salts down on the road.
You guys are the salt city, so you're the salt city and we're the bath salt city.
And you're the bath salt city. Yes. Is that still a thing?
I don't think so. Not as far as I know.
Okay. Because you're around that all the time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Joining Spire. I don't even have a year. I don't even know when. Okay, when did I come to you? Because we had been Sword for a while. Yeah. When did I come to you and say, we've been fighting it forever, but we need another guitar player?
2010.
2010.
Spring of 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. We were actually living together in the same dorm building.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
You were my RA.
I was your RA.
You know, you'd let me snuffleupagus all I wanted, and then, you know, you let me freebase, but you wouldn't let me have a beer in the room. Yeah. You were awful.
No beers.
Dry campus.
Great dynamic.
Yep.
Yeah, it was 2010, though. It was in the spring, and you guys were gearing up for a decent amount of shows over the summer, and yeah, like you said, been fighting the two guitar thing for a while. Mm-hmm. So at that point, we had just about 2 years in Sword of Truth together, so we were kind of used to working together, and I was like, yeah, absolutely.
You were willing
to
take on being yelled at twice as much by me.
Oh, yeah.
Do you regret that?
No.
Well, I've kind of been put in my place, which is good. I've been tamed. I'm still a volcano, though. I'm just dormant.
It's a good way of putting it.
No, that's scary. That's really bad. That means I'm going to murder you guys at one point with a smile on my face, a crying smile. Yeah. So you joined up spring 2010. Trying to put this all in perspective here. So we did get that battle right then. We got that battle right at the Lost. And there was a correction on the other podcast about that, and I didn't know if it was 2009 or 2010.
It was.
But I
found the flyer.
Were you on that battle?
I don't know.
You weren't on that battle.
2009, I wouldn't have been.
Right.
No.
So it was definitely I didn't know if it was 2009 or 2010. No, it was definitely 2009 because you had joined up after that. Mm-hmm. 6 months later or whatever. So what was it like joining up? So you have Sword of Truth. It was still metal, you know, but it was a little bit more bang your head, a little less think.
A little loose.
And a little bit more flashy, a lot of more flashy rocker vibe, but more of the bang your head. How was that different to you going into, and you're working with different guys too, going from, okay, I'm in Sword with him, and now they've asked me to join Spire, and I've got all this material to learn. And all of our material we've been fighting it for a long time, but all of our material elicits like another guitar part. It really does, and it helped us out so much.
Like dual guitar harmony type things, like parts like that
weren't getting played live. Mm-hmm. So how was that? How was that transition?
You had a bunch of songs written already, and then you had come out with the Re-Evolution EP disc there, and so all those songs were they were there and they were written and you had them in Guitar Pro form, and then you kind of just gave them to me and was like, all right, here's the songs. And then so it was kind of just a matter of going through the songs and learning them part by part, and then coming back out here and doing rehearsals and gradually getting it more correct.
Right. Well, really, were we still playing? Well, was Spire still playing during that? I remember we weren't playing.
We had a few gigs that summer. Remember that? We played a couple outdoor type things that summer
of 2010. Yeah, so you joined in spring. Yeah. You had some time to adjust with the material, and then you. What was your first show?
I don't actually remember.
You don't remember?
It might have been at that guy's backyard.
The venue was called That Guy's Backyard.
Yeah, I think so. There were fireworks and there were children. I remember that.
There were fireworks made of children.
There might have been.
What was it? Was it a H Fest?
I don't know. I don't think it was a H Fest. I think it was.
They weren't calling it that.
Maybe not.
Were they?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Low key guys, email us. Let us correct us on this. Correct us on this.
We need some other brains in here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's if it was a H Fest at that point.
Yeah, it was something outdoors though. And we had to travel to it.
So you were with us through the. We had released. We had started recording Discovery that summer.
Yeah. You had.
And then we had the run of shows with you. So you basically came in, you played a few shows with us, and we were tracking.
Yeah.
And
all along the way.
Yeah, and still trying to figure out parts, and we were changing parts a lot because now we knew we had another guitar player.
Live. Right.
So it was kind of a strange transition for you, like timing wise.
Right.
So that's, I just did all the guitar parts on the record as if it were two guitars. I quad tracked it, so I did 2 in one ear, 2 in the other ear, and it was 2 of the same part. So 2 of the same rhythm part in your left headphone, 2 of the same rhythm part in your right headphone, and then all the leads and solos. So it was a little strange, but you adjusted to it, and it has been a long time. So the first time you actually participated in a true recording of ours was a long time from that point.
Right. Yeah.
Long time from that point that it took because of the hiatus, but we'll talk about the hiatus. So by the time we had the album out, it was March of 2011. It's history. I suck at history. March of 2011. Were we playing a lot then? Did we have a lot set up? There was a year when we played a ton for us, so we don't play that much, but we were playing a decent amount. I thought we were playing a few times a month, or I like to do weekends, so we were packing them in.
I don't really remember either, because we had Sort of Truth shows all along that way too. That kind of got. I just remember it as like playing out.
Well, then it was tough. It really was tough. It was tough on our guys. When people put a lot on their plate and they do a lot of projects like that, it doesn't. To me, I figured this out. It doesn't mean that you can do it. It means that it's like multitasking. People say, when they're texting and you're talking to them, they say, "I'm listening." Not really, because I made a joke that is like an A-level joke I would consider for myself, and then you're kind of just, you're not saying anything, and it's like so that multitasking, it's like, sure, you can be in all these projects, but you're not really.
You're not really giving your full effort to.
Sure, and other people suffer with it, and I have learned that is, if I'm going to take something else on, I got to make sure that other things are in order, and the momentum is not going to cease because of me.
Yeah.
So it was tough. It was tough on Lawrence and Jesse, and I was down there with Mike Elliott. So a lot of the writing and a lot of the rehearsals, those guys drove down 2.5 hours to rehearse.
I remember that.
And they were the minority in that because it was two of them.
Right.
And it was
driving to where everybody else was. Yeah.
Mike Elliott. Yeah. And so we were playing down in Oneonta for practicing, and we're a Syracuse band. It was tough. So we didn't play that much, but I graduated in summer 2011 or August 2011 because I finished up at school, and then I did my internship at Northern Lights, now Upstate Concert Hall, in Albany, and I was living there. So I graduated, did my internship, and then I was up in Albany, and I was living with Mike Elliott. So it was me, Mike Elliott in Albany, Lawrence and Jesse in Syracuse. This is going into the fall of 2011.
Yep.
And you were attending
my senior year.
Yep, Oneonta for your last year. So map wise, Oneonta's over. It's like a half an hour out of Cooperstown, right? Oneonta. It's on 88.
Yep.
So down 81, up 88, or throughway, and then down from Albany. So you were there.
Yep. So we had this like Bermuda Triangle across New York State of band members for a solid year, right?
Yes. Yeah. I lived in Albany for a year.
Yep.
And Sword reunited for like a show. We did a reunion, but we weren't playing. So Spire was the
main project.
Yep. The top priority, being that far away from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to talk a little bit about how the geography of what it was up against the shows that we were playing?
Yeah.
And I want to hear like how that was for you, and you still had a full workload too.
That was rough. I don't remember much of that period of time other than just like really trying to scrape by and like make sure there was enough time for everything that we had planned. And we were like, that was probably Spire's busiest period of time before our 1.5 year long hiatus that we went on, because we had booked some bigger shows. We ended up opening up for Shadows Fall,
which was one of my favorite shows, by the way. Station 58, Shadows Fall.
Yep.
It was great.
So all those bigger shows were happening, and we were working really hard as a band. And I want to say, we kind of split rehearsals between here in Syracuse and that music store out in Albany. Like, it kind of depended where our next show was going to be.
That's the sketchiest thing as a band too.
Yeah, not having a real rehearsal space, not having a real dedicated place, like renting something out where you got to bring everything in and take everything out, and make sure everybody can cough up enough money to pay the business owner for their space. Yeah, man,
we went down to Oneonta for some rehearsals, correct?
Yeah, we did a few down there too.
They have practice rooms there.
Yeah, that was good.
You still have to rent out. You're not paying for them, but you're a student, but you still have to block that time.
And then we did lockout rehearsals at my parents' place.
Lockouts at your parents.
Those were good.
Your parents were great about it. It was either in your garage or it was in your basement.
Basement in the winter.
One of the cleanest basements I've ever been in. I don't know if that's supposed to make you feel good. It's a basement.
Really know. I know.
And then we did some rehearsals at my dad's house. Okay, this is when I'll bring this up, is that everything that we think is metal, that's really like, the end product.
Yeah.
And I want to make that, I was talking to you, I want to make this a segment on here, like a short little segment. Everything that is metal, that has become metal, comes from something that is not metal at all.
Oh, yeah.
So, these metal guys, I'll call us adults at this point, metal guys rehearsing in, in Zach's garage, his parents' garage, in his parents' basement, and sometimes we go to Syracuse, and you can come to my dad's house, basement. And I'll say, hey, you guys, going to the store? Oh, it's fine, we're gonna go to a movie too, and you don't have to, guys. Well, it's a little loud for us, and and we support you, blah blah blah, but it's loud. And we're down there yelling and screaming. And that's so when you see us at the show and we're up there with lights on us and we're going jun, you're going, yeah, it was awesome, great set, guys. That was metal as fuck. That was brutal, man.
Yep.
Daddy's
That's where
basement.
All of that came from. That is exactly it.
So it comes from something so lame, but we appreciate our parents obviously for letting us do this. Still doing it, present tense. But now I've got my own basement. So, it's good stuff. I like that. Still, we're not metal at all. We're so far from metal. All right, that was a tangent. Where were we?
That spring, before we all went on hiatus, we were like,
playing
that was
a lot.
The busiest thing. Yeah, we were playing so many shows and rehearsing all the time.
Right, and so we booked a 4-day run, like consecutive.
Yeah.
In March of 2012, and then we had a 5th day. Like it was like a half a week away. It was it was weird, but we called it a tour, a little outing. But that one was in Rome, at Trace's, and so we booked that, and that was pretty much the last hurrah. I think we had something after that too, but a lot of the things I had been living with Mike Elliott for a year in Albany, and it was definitely taking its toll when you're around somebody so much, and we're getting that now too, and we're around each other and we're not actually like hanging out. It's just all business. It's just you have to take that step back, and definitely. So I totally understood where he was coming from, where he's just like, it's getting to me, and but we had a great run. I thought that was a lot of fun. A lot of planning went into it, and when you're doing it yourself, you got to make sure all your ducks are in a row and the bands are committing to it and everyone's sticking to their end of the bargain. And that was a lot of fun, but that was also kind of almost a counter production too, because it was like we just played all these shows and it went well, and we knew that we were going to have a change.
Yeah.
At first, the change was just we need a new drummer. But it was a little more than that. And you want to talk about that at all, like the go into detail about how we all decided to step back from that.
Yeah. For everybody, it made sense in some way. We were all kind of that last run of shows, even though it was really successful for us, and we made a lot of good progress with that. It was so stressful that it was kind of, it made it more clear to us that something had to change at that point. And then so, we finished up that run of shows, and we had that show at the Lost with Jason Bittner's band, Dark Day Sunday.
That was
great. But yeah, then that was the last show, and like we planned that one out, and then we were kind of just like, all right, this will be it for a while.
Right. And we didn't know. I mean, I don't know. In the back of my head, I knew that at some point we were going to open it up again.
Yeah.
But that was kind of sad. Like we did our 10th anniversary show.
Right.
And then our like maybe 2 weeks later, we played our last gig at the Lost in June. So that was really sad because it was tough. I did my usual break a string, like the second to last song, and it's like we're playing Reinvent the Race, and I'm playing it with my goofy Dragon Ball Z tattooed guitar with, I think I had 2 different horoscope stickers on there just because I didn't know what I was. I had like Aries and Virgo on there. It's an awful guitar, and it was feeding back, and that sucked, but whatever.
You roll with it.
I roll with it. But it was getting to us. It was getting to everybody. I'm surprised that everybody understood. I'm surprised that it wasn't a surprise to people. That's what I'm surprised that it wasn't a surprise to everybody in the band that it was not just a loss of a drummer. It was we need to all take a
everybody
break.
Needed that in some way. Everybody needed that break.
Yep, we did.
Yeah,
and it the way I see it is that I have been. And you had been working with me for years too. It was if you add sort of truth into that, like we had been working together in music years. It felt like that was a long time.
Yeah.
And it's college, so we had no jobs. It was just we were around each other all the time, every day. So we kind of sped up that process of being together all the time, hanging out. So the music process was in full force. Yeah. That gets to people after a while. Been in the same band. Mm-hmm. Lawrence and I started Spire in 2002. Mm-hmm. And I was in middle school when we started this band. And our friendship was built on that. And so when you are in a band with somebody, I mean, you want these people around you to have some sort of level of friendship as well. You want a friendship with these people. They're not just like your business partners, especially when you're in high school. Like, you want to be hanging out with these guys. They're your friends. And after 10 years of being friends and bandmates with this guy, and Jesse was soon after that, so it was pretty much the same time frame. Being in a band with these people for so long, like, that year before the hiatus, so 2011 into 12, it was too much because the geography is what broke it apart. Sure, the actual like status of the band, the visual like perception of us, wow, things were good, and we were playing all the time. Yeah. However, when you're not able to rehearse. And I'm big on that. I don't know how bands can do that. They can just be like, oh, we haven't practiced in like 3 months. We'll see how it goes. How do you do that? We're playing like 9/8 stuff. It's not a walk in the park. It's really tough. We have to open these songs up once a month and hit them hard so that we can actually still play them.
We were getting like night before show rehearsals too. I remember that. That was the hardest. I think that was actually the hardest thing about it. Thinking back now, we'd book these rehearsals like the evening before we had the show.
Albany.
Yeah, especially Albany. I remember those. It was crazy. And we'd all only be in the room together for an hour. Out of like a 3 or 4 hour rehearsal that we had booked, we'd all only be together for like an hour of that because of the travel. How are you supposed to break apart an 8-minute long song and make sure your
that has problems? Yeah, an 8-minute long song that has issues.
Yeah, how are you supposed to do that? Like, you're trying to play it the next day, and you're booking a rehearsal the day before. It's insane. And that's like, now you reminded me of that because that was one of the things that like really made it.
This happened more than once.
Hard. Yeah,
was not even night before. This was night of.
Yeah, we would do like day of
situation.
Afternoon
I book
rehearsals.
a rehearsal in Albany at a music shop at 3 p.m.
This was killer, man.
No, I'm sorry. It
was like afternoon like that.
2 p.m.
Yep.
All right. So we have a rehearsal space from 2 to 4, but the guy was good and let us start breaking down. He understood. And we had a 5 p.m. load-in at Bogey's in Albany. So it was like it was probably like a mile and a half or two. It was probably 2 miles away from the shop, so it wasn't a big deal. And it was right by Mike and I where we lived. So that wasn't a big deal. However, you've got guys getting out of work in Syracuse, restaurant business, after getting slammed at work, both getting together in the car and going to Albany. And you were driving up from Oneonta.
Yep.
Which was an hour and 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
Roughly. So we'd all convene, like, okay, we're all here.
At the music store.
And it would be like maybe 3:15, 3:30, and we've got till 4 when, like, Syracuse guys show up because of, they got slammed at work.
Exactly.
And we've got their equipment set up, and we've got everything's ready to go. And I go, here's the sections we got to hit. Boom, we got everybody. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's be like 15/8, the end of Star Cycle, and it'd be a 15/8 part, and we'd play it a couple of times, and we'd have to stop, and I'd be like, okay, just remember to do this, that, and this to whoever. We got to remember to hold this back, and we couldn't actually hit it again.
Right.
And we had to hopefully then we had to pack our stuff up.
Their parts.
We had to pack our stuff up and go to the venue 2 miles away and unpack it and set it up again and play that show. And then those guys would have to work the next day. They'd drive home after the show.
Yeah.
One of them would have to drive home, which means both of them had to.
Yeah.
One of them had to be home, so both of them had to go. And they couldn't even enjoy themselves. So, when you're doing that,
dear young bands, this is not a way to practice.
Not
if
a
you're
way.
Listening to the story.
Not a way. It's only because we had been working together for a certain amount of time that we could actually, I'm going to say, pull it off.
Yeah.
And pulling something off is not a way to continue to do
that.
That
is not a satisfying way to make music. Just pulling it off.
Nope. Some people are impressed by it. Some people think it's impressive. I think it's draining and teeth pulling. And by the end of that experience, and we're going into prepping different sets, because that's what I like to do. Different sets for each show. So you got friends that are coming out to more than one show. You want a different set, and not just the same songs in a different order. You want newer songs, older songs. You want to change it up. We're prepping for our run. Our 4-day or 5-day run in spring, March 2012. And we're trying to make different sets for it, and we're meeting up at your place, because that was the common ground was Utica. So Syracuse guys, me and Mike in Albany.
You guys had an hour and a half drive. Everything was good.
Yep. And you had to drive to your own fucking house.
Drive to my own house.
From Honiana. So, so we're all meeting in this one place. And we had we had time to rehearse, but it was very stressful, because again, same thing, work schedules, whoever can get there at certain times. This person's getting here at this time, and this person has to leave early. So when everybody shows up and we're a full band, it's nothing more than a, hey, what's going on, man? We're running this song.
Yep.
And
crunch time.
Yeah. And it was so stressful, and I wasn't doing well under pressure like that, and I still have a lot of trouble with that. It's hard to think to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and think what they may be feeling. And as I was looking at you guys, especially a Lawrence and Jesse, who because of how far we go back as friends in a band, I'm looking at them as it's like a business meeting. We have instruments on, but it was fully business, and it had been for so long, with everybody being all over the map. I did not I wasn't looking at my friend anymore, and that was what was tough, is that you only saw and they only saw this in me as my tendencies of not being able to deal with the stresses of a deadline under pressure, and I only saw whatever any tendencies in somebody that get you a little, when you're around somebody a lot, and we weren't even around each other all the time. We met up a couple, maybe twice a month, and that was the result, was just a long practice.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's
what
it was. That'll do that to you. You get together with somebody, and the only time that you really see them, you're putting yourselves into this really, really stressful box for a few hours, and you're saying, we need to do this and get this done, and everything depends on this, and you're putting so much pressure on yourself to do that. It's really not a good recipe for human beings to get along and feel good about what they're doing in that kind of environment. You're just so focused on the mistakes that everybody's making. You're focused on the mistakes that you're making yourself.
All you see and all you hear.
Yeah.
there's no good.
And I mean, musically, like that's a really good way to lose touch with the part about making music that really matters, that I think is the whole reason why any of us actually are doing this in the first place, is really connecting with that emotion that's in music. And I mean, there's such a range of human emotion and experience that is in this collective genre that we call metal or heavy music, that like everything that we did that spring, that time leading up to our hiatus, like totally disconnected us from that feeling and that spirit and that intention of what we were really trying to do with this music. And that was...
And it didn't look like that.
It didn't look like that, no, because we had these great shows and we opened up for Shadows Fall and did all these nice things that, you know, local metal bands are supposed to do. And we were kind of, you know, just living the life and checking, you know, putting check marks in the boxes on the bucket list. But it was ultimately pretty damaging. But
we didn't know where that bucket was either.
Yeah.
Utica, Albany, Syracuse, Oneonta. Yeah, that's crazy. And still, we have not gotten out of state.
Right.
We've never played out of state.
Yeah.
We're at, in, you know, Massachusetts, backdoor. And we're not, and playing Albany all the time. We've not played out of state, which is unacceptable, but we're we're getting there.
So if anybody wants to have us out,
gas is like $2 a gallon, so
yeah,
I think we can make it happen
this summer.
Yes, I would really like to do that this summer. Okay, so we covered the hiatus. I had joined Perpetual Burn, and Lawrence joined Cosmic Sea. Mm-hmm. So right off the bat, like, that was where we were. I could not be in a band. Mm-hmm. It's funny. It's like cheating. It felt like cheating. Like, it's so funny how much of like a relationship it really is.
It really is. It's funny.
And it was a lot of fun. I was in it for like a year and a half. Lawrence, I think, was in Cosmic Sea for a year.
Yeah.
But it was a strange feeling. It was just like talking. I didn't really like hang with you as much at all. It like kind of dropped off. It had nothing to do with us not being as good of friends, but like it puts it in perspective, the geography of where we are and how tough it is to get together when you don't have this obligation, you don't have this deadline. It made it very difficult. So what were you doing during that whole thing?
Well, right about then, I had my internship after school. I was at a local music store for that. And I actually, like that summer, I took not an intentional break from playing electric guitar, but I barely picked up my guitar at all that summer. And if I did, I played acoustic. Well, actually, I played a lot of acoustic that summer. It was like pretty much every day I'd go out and sit outside, and I'd have either my steel string or my nylon string guitar, and I would just go out and play that, and I wouldn't like practice anything. It was nothing disciplined, but I would just play. And that was really
exactly the therapy that you needed.
Yeah, it's exactly what I needed, because that whole spring leading up to all this, you know, the last semester of college, the only guitar that I was playing was electric, and the only repertoire that I was playing was Spire's material. And even
that's all you had time for.
Even less than that, I wasn't even playing our songs as songs some of the time. I was just hitting the parts that I was having difficulty with. Like I'd say, I got an hour before this class, I got to hit the ending of Star Cycle and, you know, clean it up or something. And it was like, that is not a good way to play your instrument. You're playing catch up. You're going, I'm behind, I need to catch up. And it's not really a fulfilling or satisfying way to be a musician. You're always behind in that way. So that summer was great for me because I just jammed on acoustic constantly and really started to feel like a guitar player again and not just a technician on a machine that I didn't quite understand.
So I was playing catch up in that time with Perpetual Burn.
Perpetual Burn.
Because those guys are musicians that I can't even comprehend to this day. I don't know. It was very difficult. A lot of fun, but holy shit, it was very difficult to play that material. That was a challenge, a healthy challenge for me though, because I was coming into another world. I wasn't the person like, I wasn't delegating and this and that and this and worrying about shit. I just showed up to practice. Mm-hmm. That was nice for me to be able to do that. But chop wise, Jesus Christ, that was insane.
It was funny for all of us because in Spire, you were the one that brought all of the hard things to the table. You were the one that like brought the riffs that were harder to play or used some advanced level technique that some of the other of us might not have had a good grasp on, and that was great because like you need somebody in a band like that because they push everybody else to try to be better, to try to grab something else that's going to be an interesting piece of music, and then you came into that band and Steve was the guy that was like bringing these absolutely batshit riffs to the table, and now you were playing them. So that was kind of funny for all of us in Spire during that time because we're seeing you struggle to play a little bit, and we're like,
and you guys thought it was funny. You laughed.
Yep.
How was the show? It was funny. No, it was good. It was just funny watching you, sweat a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the time that we came back to things, that we decided to come back to things, how did that go? I mean, it was like that kind of relationship where I kind of saw you at the grocery store. In theory, I saw you at the grocery store, and hey,
I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, that's what you've been up to. I've been really, kind of picking up this guitar instead of that guitar. I was okay, cool. Well, maybe we should jam sometime, get some coffee together, play a few riffs, chat.
Play a few riffs.
Yeah, catch up, and being a model. I'm in California now. I'm back. It didn't work out. Yeah, but so it was just us getting together a little bit more, and I don't even know how we discussed that.
I remember after the Riverside concert that was here, which was amazing that we saw Riverside
in Syracuse. Yeah.
Great. Anyway, I got lost on that for a second. Yeah, after that concert, we were hanging out and talking about like what we wanted to do in the future for this, and we both wanted to bring back Spire's music and to make it happen in whatever way would be possible. And since you were living back in Syracuse now, we had a little more of a geographical ease to get together. We weren't stretched across the state. Everybody was mostly, in the same region.
You had graduated.
Yeah. So I was living in Utica, so I was only an hour away from you guys, and it was you and Lawrence and Jesse here.
It's the situation we have right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that absolutely makes things easier. That was what we needed. So it was just you and me jamming again?
No, we got together with the other guys pretty quickly after that.
And what we had plans though, right? We had plans of like just it was like kind of let's see where it goes kind of thing.
Yeah,
is that how we treated it?
Yeah. I remember we got together a couple times that summer over at Lawrence's place, and we just we jammed songs.
He was living in North Syracuse, and
we jammed the beginnings of the song that is now passive progressive. We had that riff kicking around for a long time, and that was
Jesse
when
he wrote the
we first realized that we were ripping off Scar Symmetry with that pre-chorus.
All of our stuff is Scar Symmetry, by the way. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
That's what we did that summer, and then
we had fun.
It was great.
We had a lot of fun.
Like,
again,
realized that the music that we had was worth putting some effort into and trying to get it out. So, and then
was that 2013?
I was 13, yeah.
Okay.
So by that fall, we actually had gotten in touch with York.
Right.
Yeah, he started jamming with us in November, I believe, November or December
of 2013. This is the whole thing. This whole thing has been remembering dates for me. That's all it's been. It's just, when did this happen? Because I don't remember. York was in a cover band, and he made the decision of, I'll have him on here. He made the decision to not make money on the weekend and join our grimy ass band and
music.
Yep. Play our coffee house ranting. Our loud level coffee house metal. So we're very grateful for that.
I mean, everything totally changed for us once he came into the band. It was such a huge push in a very important direction when he came into things.
Metal is the drummer. That's how I view it.
Yeah.
Metal is the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
And the vocals, the guy up front, or gal up front, that is the one, this is the person that will, get you to buy the record or not. That's really, I mean, puts the staple in it. There's a lot of talented bands out there, but if you have somebody, smeagling on the microphone, that's not gonna win me over. So that's the one that's gonna make or break you as far as someone liking you. But the drummer is really the foundation to build up from. That's it. That's the foundation. If you have an amazing drummer and a great vocalist, somebody that has a command on the mic, then it allows us to play like absolute dog shit on stage. And I like that. I like that there's no pressure anymore to be the best you can be on stage. We can really just get up there and take a huge one on your parts, and you got this drummer that rocks, and everybody loves you for it, and they notice us more too. So it's great.
Yeah,
I'm very happy that he joined up for that. But when we started playing shows again with him that winter, leading up to the shows, because I think our first show back was at Gorham Brothers, March 7th, 2014. I'm getting better at this, right? That's when we decided, we took like a couple of months to just improve how we come off to people, like how we look.
Yeah,
it's an image, an image thing, and not to fake it, but to just organize. How we come off to people, because we were very, I don't know, just
fragmented,
random looking, and we were a band, but we didn't really have that
unity on stage.
Right.
We tried
visual
to figure out,
unity,
like how we could be as unified as five dorky dudes really theoretically could be,
still being ourselves, but just
we didn't
amplifying that.
Tease our hair or anything, but
we didn't. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe one of those guys did. Hair. I think Lawrence did. He would forget like a toothbrush when he'd stay the night, but he'd sure bring his straightener. I like this because he can't defend himself.
He's going to kill us today.
He is. He knows that karate. So the professionalism. I feel like every couple of months we can put another pin on like the timeline of like how much more professional it feels. With the band, and that leads me into graphic design. The whole graphic design thing with your role.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wonderful. This is going to go great then.
I've never done anything like that.
Just in how, because we covered how you were the second guitar player in Spire we now have a fifth member, and you are learning our parts and playing out with us and getting more used to how we operate as a band. But
I wasn't really a member, at that point when I had joined. I was like a live guitar player.
Right.
I was kind of like a touring member.
Sure.
You almost would think of it like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wasn't writing, wasn't recording, that kind of thing.
You were featured as the live performer. Yeah. I guess what was the point that you really felt like you were in this band? Was there any sort of turning point for you, or any sort of time frame when you were like, this is, I mean, besides us probably saying it, like, how does it feel? You're a true member of the band now, like that kind of thing. But like, was there any point in time?
I felt like actually after the hiatus, like when we got back into doing stuff, because that was the first time that you had really, the band had really used anything that I had written, was once we had started back up.
What was the first thing that we used?
Was our song Illustration of Self, our kind of one of our newer ones that we started playing last year. That was something that I had written a while ago, and we had always said like, oh, we're gonna use this at some point, but we never really got around to it till after the whole hiatus and everything, and then that song came to life and was finished and turned into an 8-minute
because we didn't have a million deadlines.
Yeah. Because
the best part about it,
we were actually like playing music that we intended to play and not just playing catch up. Yeah, that was definitely, when I felt like everything was official. I don't know. I didn't really feel like I could consider myself a member until I could really contribute something tangible to the repertoire.
Yeah, well, it definitely the time away and how you chose to treat that time.
Yeah.
Which that like it was, I can describe that as like a musical therapy, really, and how you came back into it. I feel like our heads were clear.
I came back into things really different than I left. I know that I bought a new guitar and was changing things around tone wise, and it was a huge.
That was a big thing too.
Listening to tons of different music, not just listening to metal. And that really, really changed my perspective on what I was trying to accomplish in this band. So,
well, music nowadays is the non-metal music. I feel is more metal than some of the metal out there now.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
So going into the band off of the hiatus with Mike York as the drummer, and you as a proclaimed full-time member of Spire. It's been a great year. It's been an incredible year, and I think that we are 100% different.
I think so.
100% different. And we have a lot of fun stuff coming up. And I feel like, and that was the thing with graphic design, that hopefully in this time that you've told me you don't know what I'm talking about, you've since then figured out everything that I'm hoping you'll say about how you've put your knowledge of graphic design into this band, and how your graphic design has gotten better and better and better over time, as it should. But you weren't really taking like classes on this, where you were just learning as you had Photoshop, and it was a self-taught thing. It was just on the side of.
I've been approached by a few people that like asked me to make flyers or something for some event, and I would say, yeah, sure, I can whip that up. I'll do something. Mostly working with typography and color, layout, texture type things, and it wasn't really anything too special. But as I started getting more comfortable with it, I started trying to incorporate that into this band. And the thing is, when you're a band on our level, you don't have the luxury of anyone really being there to help you out with things that you don't know. So you figure out how to do things, and you just you get them done the best that you can. And that's the great thing about being in a band where everybody in the band has some kind of talent. They have some kind of contribution that they can bring to things, that they can bring to the operation of the band, rather than just playing the instrument or writing music, because there's so much more that you need to do as a small independent band to be successful, or to not even be successful, just to be minimally interesting to the people that you're performing for. But
in terms of percentage, 0 to 100%, how much do you feel playing music is a part of the entire operation of being in a band? Specifically, I mean like a metal band, a DIY metal band.
Yeah. I'd probably say 50%. I mean, there's a lot of, with music, being a disciplined performer on your instrument and making sure you set aside time, during the week. We're weekend warriors. We all get together on the weekend and we rehearse on the weekends, but during the week, people are sorting out their individual performance leading up to that. But I mean, we spend a lot of time during the week on things that are not music related at all.
I would lean more towards 25.
Oh yeah,
percent.
That low?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe. All right.
I would go that low, and that's not to be confused with how I feel about that 25%.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
You can play. It's a different world. You can play as many notes on your instrument. You can do as much as you want in a song and make it this amazing song. But the expression, if you play, they'll come. Like that kind of mantra doesn't work this day and age.
Yeah.
It's all. Most of this is how you come across to people.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you present yourselves and where you put yourselves. Like how do you get to these people? How can you do that? Yes. And there's such a grueling process that you are now playing many roles in
exactly
making this work and get to everybody.
It's so much
being
different.
One of them is getting out to people.
People a lot older than us that would have remembered gigging in like the 70s or 80s. Things are so much different than that. The proliferation of music. I think there's more bands now than there were back then, and that just serves to make it harder to break through to people. There's more distractions nowadays, and that serves to make it harder for you to break through.
Right.
So and then, like I said before, you as a young band, you don't really have the luxury of anybody being around to help you with the things that you don't know. So you do have to take that all on yourself. And that's kind of what we did.
Or with other young bands around you too, connecting with them.
Yep. So that's how that came into this band with me, with trying to finesse our image a little bit and try to... imagery is really important in music. Hence music videos, hence album artwork. Even in the digital age, imagery is so important to try to get across what you're trying to get across with your music. You can create an image that really ties in what you're trying to say through your music and through your lyrics, and that's a lot of times it takes a certain level of quality in your imagery that you're putting out to really break through to people. And that's really, it was that necessity that's really all that drove me to want to incorporate that into the band. Is just out of necessity. We needed something. We needed to look like a metal band.
Yeah.
That's all that ever comes from, really.
Right. And that image, I feel we've just been leaning more towards simplicity than all this complex imagery that we could have. It's really been more simplistic,
a little bit.
And I describe it as, you know, the stereotype of a metal band being a shot glass. Like heavy metal to me is a shot, you know. Take it right to the face and let's have some fun. But with us, I see us as a whiskey glass, where it's something to sip on.
Something to sip on, yeah.
You know, and that's what I like about it is that, and we as a band we talk everything to death. We talk everything to now. It's all just it's 5 slices of the pie, and it's just there's nothing is one-sided. It really isn't. Everything is discussed. It's something that's it's something I've been needing to work on in this band is that no, it's what you say it doesn't go. You got to take a step back here and somebody else has something to say about it, and this is going to change the game possibly. And it has. There's been a lot of game changers, and that's why I say we are 100% different.
Yeah.
And it's for the better, and it's wonderful. And right now I'm staring at a shirt. You did the graphic design for our flyers and for our Gorham show back after the hiatus. You did the
not the Gorham show.
Not the Gorham show.
The Boonville show.
No. You did the flyer.
Okay, you're talking about last year's.
Last year. So you did the flyer for Gorham, and you did the flyer for Pennaville when we played Monterey's with the headlining gig at Monterey's, and you did our Play Riffs shirt with the live shot on it, the live photo from Fusion with your hair like in half the photo. Yeah. That's pretty awesome. So it looks teased. I know you said we don't tease our hair. It looks teased, or you are just a tease, either one. But I'm looking at the shirt, the new shirt that we have. It's going to be available at these February shows. It's our ode to our single that's out now, Passive Progressive, and there's a little quote from that on the back of the shirt. But I wanted you to kind of, if you could talk about this shirt as we're looking at it right now. Talk about how you went about designing this shirt.
Well, it kind of came from an idea that you had. You brought this to the table, this idea of like incorporating, because the song has so much to do with what's going on our planet right now. The song deals a little bit with environmental destruction and the way that greed as a human sort of impulse has not really led to people being better off. In some ways it does serve to destroy us more than it serves to empower us, and that was kind of a theme that we explored in Passive Progressive, and we had this line called greed has infected the waters, one of the more powerful parts of the song. And so we were trying to get on this theme of like earth and environmental destruction and that kind of thing. And you had found this symbol in alchemy for earth as this triangle with the point down and this line in it. It was a cool symbol, and we were kind of like, hey, yeah, we'll try to work that in. And I had an element that I had designed on the cover, like the album artwork of Passive Progressive, that sort of looked like a planet, but it was kind of leaking in a way. I don't know if it's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's kind of leaking. And so we kind of put these two symbols together, and on the back we have this inverted triangle with the point down that's is this symbol in alchemy for earth, which it's kind of an obscure little symbol to use, but it was nice and it worked nicely. And on the front of the shirt we had a right side up triangle, and the way I kind of got into that, I was thinking we've never had, Spire has never had a visual connection to our name. We've never had any part of the name or any imagery associated with us that is a spire. Nothing has ever looked like a spire. Nothing has ever risen like that.
Something ascending to the top.
We had this. All it took was like a triangle, and it was so simple, but it really was a powerful way to connect it with our name, and you know, I mean, you can read into this all you want, and I think that's kind of part of the fun of doing a design that's kind of minimalist, is that you'll leave a lot open to interpretation for people. You don't need to be quite so heavy-handed with it. It's not, you know, a zombie eating a grizzly bear or something. Like,
it's very difficult for me to see that on one of our shirts.
Yeah, right.
As long as the zombie's holding a whiskey glass and not a shot glass, I'm sold. I like the way it turned out. I think it's I'm excited to see how the merch goes over at these shows, which we will plug in a second. I'm very proud of it. I think it's your best work. I love the distressed nature of it, and we did the shirts with Aaron Jenkins of Black Art Studio, downtown Syracuse, Fayette Street, and they turned out great. He used a water-based discharge print, so amazing. I mean, when he prints them up, you can feel the design, but after a wash or two, that goes away, and it actually becomes the material itself of the shirt. It becomes the fabric. It is the fabric. That's unbelievable to me. You get this vintage vibe. It's great. It's like a worn-in shirt already.
Something like this. So
yeah, very excited for it. And the nice, comfortable shirts. After having that that Anvil 980 with the Play Riff shirts, I can't turn back. We'll never have a normal shirt again. It's totally worth it.
I mean, unless people out there really like the boxy, scratchy, uncomfortable,
really like lactating over it and chafing, or sure, that's a great feeling. So yeah, we're proud of those. We have two different colors. We've got a white shirt with the black graphic front and back, with the dichotomy, the triangles on front and back, and Greta's Infected the Waters, and as well as the black shirt with a very light gray. I'm stubborn. I don't want to do just white. It's got to be an off-white. So there's like a creamy, a lighter gray.
Go with the flow.
I can't do it.
Got to be different.
I have to be different. So that's available as well. And we're running out of the tank tops for the ladies, so we're gonna have to get some more at some point. But priorities, and we also have another piece of the puzzle at our merch table that I think is going to go over well, and I'll leave that up to I'll leave that up to you guys attending the show and checking it out and seeing what we've got. That's going to be very exciting, and I haven't even seen them yet, so they are not here. But when they arrive, we will have them available at our merch table. It's going to be very exciting.
Leave a little mystery in it.
Leave a little mystery, If that's going to get you out, then can't wait to see what they have at their merch table. I don't even care about the music. Whatever has to happen. Passive Progressive is available online. It's just strictly a digital download. There's a little intro song that Lawrence does some dialogue on, and that two-parter is available for $1 donation on our Bandcamp. spiremetal.bandcamp.com, and you can join our mailing list for updates. And this podcast ran very long, so we might have some. We'll have to break it up and do either a two-parter, or we'll have some of this extra material available. If you join the mailing list, we can shoot you that extra material. So yeah, I wanted to I think that's basically what we wanted to cover, right? Our show's coming up. We can just plug that, and I don't even have the details in front of me, so it's going to be like a quiz.
The first one coming up is February 7th. That's going to be in Boonville, New York, at a place called the Hulbert House, which is kind of a local legend place. Apparently, it's haunted. One of those TV shows, their crew's been there, and they've investigated or whatever for paranormal kind of thing. I don't really know much about it other than that, but I know that the show is going to be excellent, because we actually we've got How to Disappear Completely from Syracuse. Those guys were really excited to play with, because we've been wanting to get a show with them for a while. The guys from Stone Thrower are playing. They're a great band. I've seen them a few times, and again, another one that we've wanted to get on a show with. And then us, and we've got
Apollo Reborn.
Apollo Reborn and 40 Dead Men.
40 Dead Men.
And,
only the Chosen joined up on that.
Yep. So we got a really, really stacked lineup for that. So that's going to be fun. So that's actually about 38 minutes north of Utica. So if you're taking the thruway from somewhere, you'll get off on exit 31 in Utica and then take 12 north up to Boonville. And you can let your British-voiced GPS guide you the rest of the way. But we'll be there, and bring your snowshoes and your snow pants and everything, and we're gonna make metal snowmen and snow angels up there in Boonville.
Up there with the sled heads.
Snowfest, yep. Up there with the sled necks.
Sled necks.
So that'll be awesome. And then after that, Gorham Brothers. That's gonna be a fun show too. Sunburster and 10 Ton Hammer, 2 bands from Philadelphia, are the touring bands for that, which is it's always a great time playing with touring bands.
Order of the Dead from Rochester.
That's right.
Dialysis, a grindy band from Syracuse.
Yes. Dialysis.
Is that a Friday? It's Friday, February 13th.
Yep.
Friday
Brothers,
the 13th.
I mean, it's good day for a death metal show.
Yeah,
awesome.
We got to step up our heavy for these guys. We got to be a lot heavier to contend. Be a lot of folded arms if we don't scream as loud as we can.
Yeah, right.
What do you got? Don't talk to you. I got to talk to you.
That looks delicious. I smell hot sauce.
I'm very grateful.
We just got a food delivery.
We just got a food delivery. Thank you.
Can't even handle that.
Thank you, Kristen Spencer. I said her name on the podcast.
You're famous now. Yeah, that's going to be very heavy. If you haven't been to Gorham Brothers Music yet, it's absolutely like the best music store in Syracuse. I really can't really say enough about those guys. It's so cool. It's such a good store. They have everything, and it's the best of things. It's not just, we're a little jaded in this day and age with music stores, and
sure,
it's really refreshing to see people that are bringing excellent quality stuff, and making it available to musicians in this area.
Things that were built here.
Yeah.
Or built and ordered from, they're modified
or built and serviced here. Yeah, yeah. I had a great experience there last year when I updated the tubes in my amp. I actually met with a guy there. He came out to meet me. He services their amps and he builds amps himself. And he came out and met me for like 45 minutes. We just plugged in different tubes into the preamp section of my amp, and he like explained to me how he expected that it would change things and change the tone, and it was one of the most educational experiences for me with my own gear, because I had somebody that actually knew what they were talking about explaining all this to me, and then hearing it right there in real time as I was playing and feeling the difference and hearing the difference was amazing. So that's it. Gorham Brothers, that's my plug for them.
Yeah.
I really they're so cool. And they have shows there too. They have heavy music shows there in a music store.
The trust level is incredible.
It is kind of ridiculous.
Trust us knuckleheads.
Yeah.
So that's So February 7th in Boonville, February 13th in Syracuse at Gorham Brothers. We're doing a little run. February 20th, Friday the 20th. We will be at the Parish Public House in Albany. That's a first time for us to be there.
Be a new one.
That is with Skeptic, Autumn's Shroud, and Dark Matter, a proggy show. February 21st, it's a Saturday, we will be at, they're calling it the Star's End. That's a basement show. The guys from Vile Tyrant is putting that on at his house. Again, incredible trust level.
Right. He's had some really fun shows there from what I hear. So we're really pumped to be able to play one of them.
Yes. Again, we got to up the heavy.
Yeah.
Got some deadly bands on it.
Way heavier than us.
Yep. We got Inhumatus and who's the other one?
I know.
It's Inhumatus. It's Omnipresent dropped.
Yeah,
they dropped from that. I'm not sure who else is on it.
I know. I'm trying to think of it. There we go. Got it. Oh, Cytoxia, which I have not. I'm not familiar with them yet. So
when did they? Oh, they got added to it.
They got once Omnipresent dropped.
Oh, okay.
They got Cytoxia. Okay. So I'm not familiar with them. So that's going to be fun. They have a picture of a cat in their profile picture, so that means that things are going to probably be disgustingly heavy. And then, of course, Vile Tyrant playing some black metal for us. And,
cool. Yeah.
Exciting.
That's a good run. And we'll be playing some newer material, some unreleased stuff at these shows, and trying to make the sets interesting. And every set will be a little different. And we'll be playing stuff off our upcoming record, which we've been doing pre-production on, and it's really coming together. And we have a lot of it completed.
Yeah,
a lot of the writing completed, and the stuff that's left is there's a skeleton of it, and we can't wait to continue writing after these shows, and hopefully the song that we're playing out will go over well, and I think it will. I'm very proud of it. It's sounding great, and just stay tuned for some more show announcements. I'm sure we'll have more. I guess we're gonna wrap it up.
Play some riffs in real life now.
Yep, that's the RIFFCAST. Questions or comments, please email us at spirenymetal@gmail.com. For bonus material from these conversations and more updates on what we have going on, please click Join Our Mailing List in the left-hand column of our Facebook page. Thanks for listening, and see you at the show.